Hey everyone, welcome back to Adherent Apologetics. Really pumped you're joining me today. We have a live Q&A in store. It's supposed to be Carl and I, but right now Carl is not here. So Carl ditched me at the last second. So right now it's just me, but Carl should be here in a few minutes. But for now, it's just me. So really pumped you're joining me. Just a little chill Q&A. We're going to go for about 45, 60 minutes-ish. Bring your questions, apologetics, theology, books, anything, really up for talking about anything. And hopefully soon, Carl will join us. Right now, it's just me and Slim RN here. How's it going, Susan? Really pumped that you joined me today. Thank you for the nice little emote to start off today. So I really appreciate everyone's time. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in because, it's just kind of awkward if you do a Q&A without Q's because you can't have an A without a Q. But, I can just kind of talk. I got my nice little Christmas sweater on, just procrastinating because Carl was not here. Carl abandoned me, sad face. But hopefully it can be a little entertaining, So it's tough, bro. It's tough. So here we are without questions, without Carl. Kind of stuck right now. So maybe I'll pull up my Goodreads profile and talk about books and stuff for a little bit. Ramon the Large, what's up, man? Really pumped you're joining me. Appreciate any questions you have as we are doing a Q&A here today. I did not mean for that to rhyme. See if I don't like watching my stuff on playback because I'm like, what is this guy doing? But for now, we'll talk a little bit about books. I'll just tell you about what I've read recently, and then once we get some questions in here, I'll answer some questions. I'm just kind of get that set up for you guys so I can share my screen, talk a little bit of Libros. For now, we'll just talk about whatever's going on with you guys. So really pumped you're joining me. We'll talk about some books I've recently been reading for a second here until we get some questions. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. But for now, shared my screen, and I'll just talk about some books for a little bit. So welcome, Ramon the Large. Really pumped you're joining me today. We're just going to be talking about some books I've read recently, zooming in here. So really, I finished this book a few days ago. My grandmother sent me the book assigned 31 Undeniable Proofs of the Apocalypse by David Jeremiah. What's up, Jose Martinez? Hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm just talking about books for a little bit because I have no questions, but really pumped you're joining me, Jose. Hope you are doing well today, my man. So read the book of signs. My grandmother sent me it. Not my favorite book because I'm not really into all the end time stuff, but definitely an interesting book. 4 stars. Finished reading The Perfection of Our Faithful Wills by Nick Quint. I hope Nick shows up. I love Nick. Great book. Really encourage you guys, if you haven't read this book by Nick, it's really good, really challenging, and really concise. But yeah, maybe we'll talk about that later. But for now, we have a question from Ramon the Large. He says, are you planning to do any work on other religions like Judaism and Hinduism? There are not many apologists who will cover these. Carl just walked in, so that's why I froze for a second. Carl will be joining us in a second. But have you done any work? At the moment, I have not done any work in these religions. I just realized I don't even need these headphones because we're just doing live. What's up, Carl?
What's up?
Carl's joining me. You can sit. There's room.
I'm going to be a substantial amount taller than Zach.
You can sit. There's room.
I
don't know.
You gave me the wrong side, genius.
It's tough, bro. So are you planning to do any work on other religions? I might. I mean, I haven't really looked into it too much. Thank you, Carl.
You're welcome.
But definitely something I'm interested in. It's just nothing that I've done to date. But definitely in the future, I'm definitely really interested. What about you, Carl?
What? Oh, all right. Question.
Work?
Yeah. Planning on doing any work on other religions. See, I would very much like to do missions work with other religions. That's something God's put on my heart a lot recently, is going overseas. So absolutely, I'll probably do a lot of work on Buddhism, and I absolutely love studying Islam. So that actually, okay, Buddhism and Islam are the two. I love those, but even above that is freaking Mormonism. Love studying Mormonism, by the way.
Nice. So I'm glad you finally joined, even though you're late. So what's up, Ethan? Glad you're here. Pumped to have you on, my guy. Welcome. Do you celebrate Reformation Day? We're actually talking about this morning. I don't really celebrate it. I mean, obviously, I think the Reformation was a good thing, but I'm not Reformation Day at parties, get our fiestas out. But Carl might have a little bit more of a thought than I do on the whole Reformation Day stuff.
So I personally, excuse me while I try and tie this. Also, that's a really cool way to tie like bow knots. Is just by the way. I personally do not celebrate Reformation Day because although I think it was a great thing that happened in like forming church, I don't like the fact that the church is split more. I don't want to celebrate church splits. That's just
But yeah, I think there were definitely a lot of goods that came out of the Reformation
Absolutely.
in terms of like just like getting out some of the bad teachings that
And,
were
like,
going on and
getting the Bible in our language.
getting the Bible in our language.
That's a pretty good one.
Help jumpstart the whole like idea of like republics, which is really interesting. So lots of really important stuff comes out of the Reformation. So,
Oh yeah, you're on a huge government kick now. That's why you're talking about all this stuff.
Talking about like constitutional history and stuff. We've been talking about how a lot of like ideas in terms of like our republic and our government form and like religious and civil liberty and all these things, they really stem out of the Reformation and John Calvin's work especially and all kinds of stuff. So that's really, really interesting. Not related, but really interesting stuff I've been working on.
Kind of related.
Jose Martinez says, are you an Arminian or are you a Calvinist? That's a good question. Probably neither. I mean, I'm definitely not a Calvinist. I would not accept any of the 5 points. I would lean towards like a free will, probably more of a Molinist than an Arminianist, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, still trying to figure it all out by the wisdom of God and all that stuff. What do you think, Carl?
I am neither, but I'm definitely not an Arminian. So though Zach said it, he's neither, but he's definitely not a Calvinist. I'm neither, but I'm definitely not an Arminian. I tend very much Molinist in terms of, I guess, sovereignty versus free will. They don't contradict really. Yeah. I like to bug him about it, like trying to get him to take a side on it. Like say, oh yes, they contradict, but they don't really contradict at all. I can't see a reason to say they contradicted. I definitely would accept some of the points of Calvinism. Yeah. Total depravity. Right there.
Well, I feel like if you accept one of them, they kind of all fall into line, at least.
Not really.
You don't think? I mean, because I think about it, if you look at it, like if total depravity fails, or unconditional election fails, or irresistible grace fails, it seems like the whole system of Calvinism would fall apart. The only one that you could kind of take away and maybe have something going on still is like limited atonement, but the other four, I think you can't like just pick and choose like you got a garden of which ones you like. I think they're very interwoven into each other.
So they're definitely very interwoven, but when you take a Molinist perspective as well, it's much easier to, I guess, surgically remove one and then replace it with almost the same thing, but with a few key differences for more of a qualified stance on the whole argument.
That's the updated take on Calvinism. If you came in a few months ago, I probably would affirm some of the points because I really I didn't fully understand what they even meant. So if you want to like get a loop video of me contradicting myself, go back to some old Q&As and I'm sure you can do that.
Or just send me a text. I got plenty of them.
Or that. We're not sharing Carl's number. Jose Martinez says, what language will we speak in heaven? Definitely English because America, bro. That's my thoughts.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely. There's Jose Martinez asking the big question.
Didn't Jesus speak English?
Jesus definitely. Jesus was just about the whitest man that has ever graced the face of the earth. Save Muhammad, bar Muhammad. But
that's actually a really interesting question. I didn't say
all of it.
None, but also all of them. I think there's going to be some like kind of, this is just me theorizing. There's no evidence for this. It's just kind of like Zach's opinion on the topic. But I think there's going to be some sort of like universal language that we all know. I don't think it's going to be like learning it. I think we're just going to kind of be like, oh, I know what he's saying. And just kind of like that. But I also do think that in heaven, like, I still think we're going to have access to a lot of like the books and all that stuff. I'm totally off base here. So I think we could learn other languages and like go back and study stuff. So I don't really know. That's kind of my like random thoughts with no scriptural evidence for. What do you think, Paul?
You see, that's just his hope that there's books in heaven. Not very much of the same persuasion. Not very much of the same persuasion at all. but he loves to read. I'm much more.
Stay out. Stay out. Sorry, Brett.
We're doing a live stream, buddy.
Someone just knocked on our door, guys. So, will I be able to dunk in heaven? Not if you're a Cubs fan. I'll tell you that, John.
Look, if Jesus could walk through walls, you can jump 20 feet in the air. Change my mind.
I don't know, Sean. If I could dunk in heaven, that'd be pretty hype. But I do know, even if I can't dunk, I will have access to your Sumerian grammar in heaven, Josh. Welcome, Josh. Dr. Josh Bowen here. Definitely. Carl's like, what the heck is Sumerian grammar?
I know what Sumerian is, and I know what grammar is, so I think that I know what both of them are. But I don't know, actually. So,
Josh, welcome, man. I'm so pumped that you're here for a little bit. Hope you're doing well, my guy.
Cheers, Josh.
Doing that Sumerian grammar stuff.
I hear nothing but
Assyriology, so much fun stuff. Jesus definitely did write the King James Bible. I mean, obviously, because that's like infallible. The King James Bible is obviously the only translation of the Bible we can use, right?
See that? Yeah, that's exactly why I went out and bought one from Goodwill.
I know John would agree. The people would definitely agree with that. But just in case you have like listening via audio somehow, this is total sarcasm. Obviously, Jesus didn't write the King James Bible.
Oh yeah, because you do the podcast, so you gotta like.
But I don't upload the Q&As on podcasts, so we're still good here, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't done a Q&A in a while. You're welcome, Josh. I'm really glad you're here. Slam RN says, have you guys been paying attention to the limited atonement debates? Sam Smith and Jim White and others. I know you guys can't. I have a lot of time being in school and all. I have not. That'd be interesting. I tend to think limited atonement has a lot of like ad hoc reasoning inside of it, but obviously I'm not paying attention to these debates at all. It'd definitely be interesting. I think it'd be really hard to make a case for limited atonement. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. School is crazy, so there's always that, but I have not been paying attention to debates. What about you, Carl?
Asking me if I've been paying attention to debates. Yeah, no, I have not. I definitely have not. I am swamped with school. Actually, not really with school. I won't lie like that. But I'm swamped with history. Exactly.
Horror movies in heaven.
Yeah, our lives. Looking back on our lives.
Seen our lifeless in, maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I have not looked into like any like theology of heaven because I'm just trying to figure out all the other stuff first because I figure I'm going to have a whole lifetime in heaven to figure out heaven. So I honestly don't know. But yeah, John DePew says, wait here. Who is Kyle?
Who is Kyle?
Who's Kyle?
You mean who's Carl?
Carl.
I'm Carl.
Carl.
I'm Carl.
This is Carl. This is my roommate. We're in our room right now. He actually sleeps right above here. I film under his bed on my desk. So it's my roommate. We go into high school together. We live like 2 miles away from each other. We're good friends.
Yeah, so there it is. Seriously, who is Carl?
That is Carl right there. This is Carl.
Yeah, I don't really have a platform. I just like to think that I'm learned a little bit. I like to think I can contribute to conversations.
I talk to Carl to try to process everything that goes on in my head.
Yeah. Even though literally all it is just him rambling about just words I've never read before in my life, and then I'll Google them, and then we'll have an intellectual discussion about them. But like,
I like to sound cool because I'll say like metaphysics or like ontology or like.
See, I know what those are.
Knowledge.
You learned those from Verdon. Don't kid yourself. I took a class with that teacher too. I know those words.
No, those are philosophy words.
Yeah, they're epistemology and ontology. I know.
Why am I right? Michael Bird is wrong. That's a great question, John.
Because birds don't have brains. It's a bird brain.
Actually, Michael Bird's a really respectable New Testament scholar.
I know this. That's why I'm joking.
We gotta make sure everyone like can catch the vibes here.
Look, there's such a thing as indirect communication, such as inflection in tone and gestures.
The apocalypse. He starts with the apocalyptic Paul. Do you know anything about the apocalyptic Paul at all?
Do you know how to say apocalyptic Paul?
No.
Okay.
Dumb question.
No, I don't. I know apocalyptic and I know Paul. I don't know apocalyptic Paul. I know 1 Thessalonians 5. No, it's 2 Thessalonians 5. No, it's 1. one of the Thessalonians.
Carl
5.
does know the Bible, just so you guys know. Slam Martin says, if the New Testament will be 1,500 by 1,500 by 1,500 miles square, I actually read that. It's really interesting. Then gravity is different or absent because then you can swoosh it because anything that big would be squashed in the globe. So I'm going to dunk in heaven. That's what I'm getting out of this. Am I right? I can dunk in heaven, right? That's the thing.
Interesting. Sounds like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, big brain think stuff that's like just not really like, yeah. Sounds like a whole bunch of big brain stuff that's like, yeah, way above my pay grade. He doesn't pay me enough for this crap.
Yeah, because I don't pay you anything. So
you should have. You used to. Wait, no, you should have, but you didn't.
Next question is from the programmer. Seriously, who is Carl?
That's me. Hi, I'm Carl.
I'm Zach.
You can ask me questions about stuff that I know, and if that's what you're asking, like who? Wait, shoot.
Boomer.
That's on the right. That's the right side this time.
It's all part of the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And modern problems require modern solutions. No. Seriously, who is Carl?
That's Carl.
I'm not an atheist. I am a Christian.
Yes, he is a Christian. Oh, we skipped that question.
Yeah.
Carl is a Christian.
I saw that. I thought that might be important to address. I am a Christian. I was saved a hot minute ago. Yeah, I love Jesus. Jesus is cool and really powerful and nice.
Jose Martinez says, question for you. What is your favorite movie? Just so you guys do know, as part of my personal values, I detest movies.
But he'll sit down and watch a TV show for 8 hours straight. But he won't watch a movie because a movie's a waste of time.
I don't watch TV when I'm in college, really. I watch a tiny bit. But not.
Says the one who was literally just asking, who wants to watch A Million Little Things earlier today?
One exception for one show. My favorite movie.
And this is us.
Yeah, that's true.
We fight like an old married couple.
I don't know. I don't really like movies.
The Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects slaps. And I watched this before I was saved, but Pulp Fiction. Ugh, yikes. Sorry.
Unbroken's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
What's up, Kyle Volmar? Welcome to the chat, my guy. Hope you are doing well. Kyle says, fun seeing Zach in his natural environment. Just so you know, Kyle, that is not how you spell Zach. I feel really hurt. I feel like, we're part of this thing called like the Youth Apologetics Empire, we're gonna like take over the world for apologetics and for Christ, and you don't even know how to spell my name, bro.
You don't even know which comes first, apologetics or Christ in that?
Bro, that's tough. It's tough.
In that axiology? I know my big words, fool. I know my big words.
The programmer says, what university are you attending? We are attending Liberty University.
You might know it from all the headlines dragging us through the mud.
Yeah, we don't want to really.
We're not going into that. We're not going into that.
It's kind of tough. We're just bringing people to hope to know Christ. That's all what it's about.
Yeah.
Is Carl a young Earth creationist?
No.
Wink.
No.
Carl's not a young Earth creationist. John DePew. This is a better question than the movie question. Shout out to John DePew out here. Even though he's a Cubs fan, I do have a lot of love for him for saying this.
He watches me.
No, that's terrible.
It's literally not terrible at all. Because I'm an entertaining person.
I like TV shows, so I'll watch
Riverdale. He watches Riverdale. Shame him. Shame him. He watches Riverdale.
Inside voices. I watch A Million Little Things, and I watch This Is Us, and that's like the two main things that I watch. I did watch that one. It was a long time ago. Last year. Over winter break last year. I was really bored. And then I like to read, and then I like to watch sports. So go Steelers. Yeah. What about you, Carl?
What do I watch in my free time? I honestly, if I have to watch something, I'd rather people watch than anything else. I love studying people and how they work. We have a window like
over here in the living room, and Carl will just sit out there, and we'll just be like watching like whatever.
I'll just like
just look out the window and just talk to people.
Yeah, I'll sit with my arm out the window, just like wave at people and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And just say, "You want to go to cookout something? You want to go get food?" People, I have no clue who they are. I love people. I'm a people person, so that's what I do.
Kyle says, comment just to make sure that he wants people to know. It's a comment. He says, "I'm worried. It sounds like Carl and Pine Creek have the same opinions about philosophy as Doug. That bothers me." Pine Creek's a YouTube atheist. And I like to be nice here. But he's more of like under like the lack of belief crowd. So respect, but I don't obviously I don't think it's a proper. Yeah, I just don't agree with that. But no, Carl is not Pine Creek, even though they do have similar hair, which is interesting.
Pine Creek must be a cool guy.
I mean, I don't really watch his videos. Kyle would know a little bit more than me. Susan is a Cubs fan. Very sad. I'm not happy about that, but I am happy that you don't watch movies either. We got to resist the movies, TV shows all the way. I also said Zachary, not Zachary.
Zachary. It's Zachary.
Listen, dude. Blame my parents. That's all I'm gonna say.
Can we please get Zachary trending or something? Not trending. It would never trend, but like, just can we turn that into a meme on his channel, please? I would be so grateful if you could turn just Zachary into a meme.
That you said that Nate, who's not here, really sad. Or maybe Nate's just secretly watching and not commenting, which is kind of sad. But Nate said something that was a trend for a while. Shout out to Roxby. Roxby probably knows. Welcome, Roxby. Appreciate you. What role does Carl play in our channel? Definitely the beauty. Like they have a good apologetics channel. You need to have like cool lights or cool hair or something. I feel like I don't have any of that. I do have Carl, So, but I just I am thinking I want to do more like video reviews, kind of. But to do that, there's just some hoops I got to jump through. I got to figure out how to like get videos to play on like StreamYard and such. So I'd love to have Carl on. We can review videos. There's a lot of people that have responded to me, and I'd love to look at some of those. But for now,
that'd be tight. I should start up a YouTube channel, even though I've been saying that for the past like 3 years. And I've started up like 5 YouTube channels, and just like I get bored after like 1 or 2 videos, and then I'm just like, you know what, heck this. I don't have 100,000 subscribers by now. Not happening anymore, baby.
Zach could do
what role?
What's that?
So I used to do Adherent Apologetics. I used to like write for the blog and post videos and stuff like that. So I used to play a bigger part. Now I'm just kind of like the entertainment side that comes in with memes for the Q&As.
Yeah, we haven't done
memes and theology. Memes and theology. That's my bread and butter.
Okay. Why don't you change your degree to philosophy? Maybe graduate school. It's a really good question. I don't really know like what I'm going to do with my life yet. So I don't know if I want to go like full on philosophy and be a philosopher, because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I might want to do something a little different. But we'll see what the Lord has planned. I guess I don't even need this. I just feel cool having this on, because it's like, as I'm listening to something. But
Yeah, it feels really cool. Sounds cool. Like there's like this secret person.
It actually like helps space us out really well, because like I can't lean too far away from you. I got to keep like actually in.
It's all part of the plan,
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Exactly. But I don't know. I'm definitely going to go to grad school in some capacity. I may do like a Trent Horn, except I won't convert to Catholicism. Not doing that. But in terms of like, I love what Trent does. He has like a master's degree in theology and philosophy and history, I think. I'm trying to remember it. And like, so he can like write a little bit and all these things, but he's not like a professional in like academia. He just kind of writes on more of like a pop culture level. So maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. We'll see what the Lord has planned. Any thoughts, Carl, when will you be a philosopher?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be a philosopher someday. Definitely going to be a philosopher someday.
Carl is going to seminary to be a pastor, just so you guys know. So Carl is more just like, how you have to have like compliments. Carl was like compliments, which is so different.
He loves thinking about useless things. I like thinking about useful things. That's just.
It's just Carl mocking you about philosophy, which the Pine Creek thinks that he doesn't like philosophy. Well, it's really interesting if you're an atheist and you don't like philosophy, because you kind of need philosophy to be an atheist.
You also kind of need philosophy to be a Christian
bands?
too. But
that's interesting. I don't have bands. I'm more of like an artist person. But
okay, Gabble Price and Friends for like not unorthodox, but like not like trendy worship music. I love Gabble Price and Friends. They slap. Hippocampus is nice. Who's the ones that did Sunday Best?
I
What's his name?
looked up on my phone.
Yeah,
I think it's called. No, it's not AJR, but they're good. I know
they're good. AJR is good.
It's Surfaces.
Surfaces is good. I love myself some Bon Jovi, and what's the other one? Okay, we'll stop it there. Billy Joel.
For what Carl is
Billy
thinking,
Joel.
I don't really necessarily go with bands. I'll just give you like my favorite like artists, or like on like I have Apple Music, so it'll tell you like who the artist is. So it's the band or artist. Really like Kanye, not the old stuff, just the Christian stuff.
I miss the old Kanye.
I don't miss the old Kanye because now the new Kanye is saved.
I was a meme off of one of his songs. I don't miss the old Kanye.
So Kanye is good. Just the new Kanye. I like Chance the Rapper, but I'm very careful on what I listen to because a lot of it's explicit. But his clean songs are really good.
Yeah.
Like Chris Tomlin, if you're gonna go Christian. I like 21 Pilots somewhat. Some of the stuff is really good. Some of the stuff is like kind of like
Yeah.
And that's probably some of my favorite stuff. Yeah. The programmer says Reed this duck has the uncanny ability to insult the intelligent Christians in his village atheist audience. That's not very nice.
What?
What do you want to say? We should hopefully like something I want to bring to the whole like YouTube conversation. It's just a lot of just like seeking truth. So hopefully if I could do that, hopefully we can kind of spread the word across YouTube. We're trying to seek truth here. We're not just trying to like create villages, but I think we also need to be careful before we call someone else a villager and make sure we're not just like in a village mob mentality of our own. But yeah, hopefully mob mentality can go away. Liberty dropped it. You want to say something?
Oh, sure. By accredited, let's just make sure like when we say things about people like that, we're not also insulting their intelligence, saying that they're insulting our intelligence, and in turn making ourselves hypocrites. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying make sure you're not, because that's a pastor in me.
I do want to say we're about halfway through. Appreciate everyone's questions. We'll keep answering questions, and if you guys have super chats, we can also answer those if you want to support the show and stuff like that.
We should play some background music.
No, because it's copyright YouTube.
YouTube.
I forgot to turn ads on for this video though, so that's kind of tough, but it's cool. Roxby says, "Why is Carl's first name Butt?" It's a good question.
What?
Tadita says, "Hey Zachy Doodah, hey Butt Carl."
Zackety doo.
What's up, my boy Nate?
But Carl.
Nate, I love Nate. What a cool dude.
I'm quite confused, but I like it.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's just, it's Nate's plan. We just go with what the infallible word of Nate D22 Nate 2D2 says. Sorry for the bad pronouncing. We dropped this philosophy department, right? Kind of. They dropped like half of it. So there's like a couple of philosophy professors still there. They still do like a philosophy minor, but they cut it in half so that you can't major in philosophy anymore. I have a friend who is majoring it when they cut it. And basically what happened is they just kind of like, he can still complete it, but it's just they cut everything in half with terms of like the majors. There's still a couple of philosophy professors left, but it's just like 50% of what it was last year. This is where you put input in, Carl.
Yes. I don't know. I don't pay attention to philosophy, let alone Liberty's philosophy department.
Ramon says, "Hey, have you heard of Elephant from Philosophy? He is really great." Yeah, Elephant Philosophy is a really smart guy. I think I'm going to have him on during Reconstruction Week, because we're going to have that Reconstruction Week in a few weeks, which I'm really pumped for, just to share stories of people who have been atheists or agnostics or the New Age movement have come to Christ. So I think he's going to be a part of that. He's very smart. I do think as Christian apologists and as Christians in general, we should try to be very Christ-like when we respond. But in terms of, he's a very smart guy. If you want to understand a great story of how you can use philosophy to come to Christ. Yeah, I've heard Elephant Philosophy. Seems like a cool dude, and I'm looking forward to talking with him soon. So, yeah.
Do you want me to weigh in?
No, you
there
don't
it is.
weigh in.
Smart man. Smart man.
So yes, we will. I will be interviewing Elephant Philosophy. Hopefully, 2 Fridays from now. And good question from Adria Hernandez. Welcome, Adria. Would you guys ever homeschool your future children? Oh, maybe. I think it depends. I'm not against it, but I'm also not like certain of it. Well, first I have to know him and have kids. I don't know about that because I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't matter if you have a girlfriend or not.
yeah, but I'm a Christian.
That's what I'm
Maybe.
saying.
I definitely think there's
It matters
good
if you
that
have
can
a
come from
wife.
homeschooling. I also think there's good that can come from public schooling. There's good that can come from private schooling. So I do not know. I'm kind of like I haven't really thought about that. That's a really interesting question. I think there's really smart people that go both ways, and I think there's not necessarily a wrong decision. But it's a really good question. What are your thoughts, Phil?
So first off, I'm not sure if I'm getting married. Not sure if call the celibacy is for me or not. So first premise. Second premise, if I do get married, then I'm honestly going to leave it more up to my wife than to me, because she would probably be the one homeschooling them for the most part, because I'd be a pastor. I'd be constantly everywhere. I probably would not be able to homeschool my children. So that would mostly fall on her. If she's willing to do that, fine. I'd absolutely support her in that, and I'd be completely down. Yeah, provide as much support as I could in that. If she doesn't think that it's a reasonable solution, send them to public school or Christian school, whichever one. Probably public school probably Christian school, Christian school for the first couple, for elementary school, public school for middle school, and then Christian for high school. Not the balance. I want to see like just I want to see that. I want them to see how bad the world is in middle school, and then be able and like see good Christianity, bad world, good Christianity. I just know like it was very helpful for me to see the world first and then see Christianity. So I think that may be helpful for them.
Kyle says, "Is Carl familiar with llamas with hats?"
Next question.
I would like to keep your hand off my computer. I would love to see a llama with a hat.
No, you
Carl,
don't. You don't know.
I am the captain.
You don't know what they're talking about. You have no clue what they're talking about.
You're right.
Bulldog.
Silly PB, welcome. Great question. Are you going to do TikTok? Yes, unfortunately, I am on TikTok. But I do. I'm not a TikTok person at all, but I do think it's a good platform to reach people with. So I do use TikTok, but not really because I like it, but more just to hopefully be able to like reach people with the gospel and hopefully connect them to my podcast, because I try to plug those, not because of me, but then connect them to scholars, and then they can connect them to other Christian theology and apologetics, and hopefully they'll come to know Christ one day, or if they are Christians, so be better informed. So in short, yes, but hesitantly so.
So I got my platform off of TikTok. I've got a decent following on there. That's what I did. I did like comedy, and then I moved into more like scripture teaching and stuff like that, like philosophy and apologetics, more into that. And I haven't posted in like 2 months now, just because I hate TikTok with a burning passion. But I'm considering getting it back for like I'll get it back for like 12 seconds and maybe post a video, and then I'll just delete it again, because I get such an enormous headache from social media right here. Can't stand it.
This is true. This is just straight facts. I too lack a girlfriend. Wait, can you be like an A girlfriendist where you just lack a belief that girlfriends exist?
I'm a-relational.
That's a term. You have so much more free time. You can pursue the Lord and all these things. So it's not pain, bro. That's what I have to say about that. Someone says, "Do we not have the option to homeschool? Germany does not, and becoming more socialist every day." Perhaps, but God's in control. God's on the throne, and whatever happens, if I'm a parent, I'll still be a parent. And the most important thing necessarily isn't where they go to school, but what they can learn. And
if we don't have the option to homeschool, then homeschooling is just 12 times more important, because to educate our kids correctly in biblical truth when they come home.
Yeah. So whatever the Lord has in His sovereign plan, which can be accomplished through free will, we'll see what happens.
And God's sovereignty.
Arminius and Molinism don't deny the sovereignty. They just deny that He's to accomplish it through determinism. Calm your eyes. It's okay. Breathe.
I'm going to take a long sip of water.
Send a prayer up for Carl, just that he can breathe. Okay. look at but Carl making all these plans. I'm gonna show you this video when your kids are born to show how plans. You can be.
There's going to be a compilation video of all the times I've said, I'm not sure if I'm going to get married on a live stream. Someone's going to run back and capture all of those because we'll have that technology by then and then play that at my wedding. It's not going to age well. I promise. And if you don't do that, I'm going to be extremely disappointed.
Wait, don't do what?
Okay, never mind. I don't know.
I
I don't know why I expect anything of you.
I was reading the live chat, so I was kind of lost there for a second. But yeah, it's gonna be awkward if like my kids like see this one day. Hey, Billy.
You're not gonna name your kid Billy. Well, for when his kids see this someday, hello, Carl Jr. He's gonna name his kid Carl Jr. After the restaurant.
This is my extremely skeptical.
This is my very happy face.
Better burn an episode externally this all when they graduate. That's funny. You guys should do Bible Nuggets together. That'd be fun. Bible Nuggets with Zach and Carl, make it a podcast, and
true.
It'd be fun.
True. I just need someone to keep me like actually like doing things. That's all. That's all.
That'd be fun. I mean, we're coming into fall break soon, so that'd be a lot of fun. So,
yeah.
Or not fall break. We can get a fall break because of COVID-19. Praying for everyone that's involved in the pandemic still. It's the highest day.
That's definitely something I should do over winter break. I'm going to be stuck in home.
Just like a podcast where you like kind of like read through the Bible together and
just make videos.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Make it on podcast too, you know.
You have this. We'll do a couple together, but I'll probably mostly do them myself. Or you can do them too if you want.
My time is kind of like so we'll see. Whatever the Lord has planned. But the Google says, what do you guys think about these? And by the way, it's better than you think. It's interesting. I think here's my thoughts on open theism. From a pure philosophical perspective, I could see it. I could see a little bit of how you could see open theism. My problem is when you go to what the Bible says. I think when you look at theology, it just doesn't seem like open theism is true. I mean, I respect open theism. I think there's very smart, brilliant Christians who defend open theism. But I think when you look at kind of like when I read the Old and New Testament, it's very hard for me to believe that God doesn't know the future, just kind of reading through those texts. So that's kind of my position is philosophically maybe, but when you look at the Bible, I think it's very, very, very hard to be an open theist. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I don't see it really at all. With all due respect to anyone who is an open theist, that's kind of my thoughts on open theism.
You don't want my thoughts. Zach's much more disciplined in the way he addresses things, much more kind.
I'm not going to read that comment, the programmer, just because we want to keep things positive, uplifting Christ, and all these things. What does globe Earth maths mean? What? Kind of lost here.
I'm very lost here. See, I hate math, so any question with that, I'm going to immediately just turn to you. I'm
taking a math class in like 2 years.
I'm going to pause 1 second. I'll be right back. I just got to grab a pillow to sit on.
Well, Carl is gone for like 2 seconds. But Carl is not going to age well either. Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, ow. Okay, ow. First off.
Yeah, Nate is pulling the punches today. He also says JK, but we're going to
fight. Do you want to square up? We will square up. I will. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want, but I will find you. And I will debate your theology.
My kids can be friends with Nate's kids. I don't think Carl is going to be happy about that. It's a great site today. Check this out later. I do not know what this is, but I mean, coming from Susan, I think, yes, it should be great. What does Carl think of classical theism? Is modal collapse entailed, or does Tomaszewski's gambit succeed? It's interesting. So do you know what classical theism, Carl, is?
Is that God is completely simple?
Yes, but it goes a little bit further than that. It talks about how God has no parts. So, for example, when you look at like the attributes of God, God is his attribute. So God is omnipotent. God is omnipresent. That's a part of who he is. I'm phrasing this wrong because it's a little weird. Like I'm not a classical theist.
I haven't really looked into modal collapse, but I kind of think it kind of makes sense. But I mean, I'm very kind of uncertain. And does Thomas Zuski's gambit succeed? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. It's really not something I really read a lot. I have been reading Professor's 5 Ways or 5 Proofs of the Existence of God, and that's interesting. But I haven't looked into it a lot, so I don't know. But obviously, the question is about what Carl thinks. So what does Carl think?
So granted, I'm not very learned on these subjects, but I tend to be more classical. I tend to line up classically theist as in terms of God's attributes. I tend, like the way I describe what I believe, like you have the Godhead, like classical theism. So you have your Godhead. Everything stems from that. So God's just nature is a. Excuse me.
There's some car honking a lot.
Do you mind? Yes. Sorry, I'm very squirrel. But so God's justice is a attribute of him. It's a, I guess, not a reflection, but it proceeds from him as an attribute of him. But it's not a part of him, but it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? Display. In a sense, it's a display of who he is. He's displayed in justness, in kindness, in love. These are all different ways that one true Godhead is displayed in those.
Programmer says, "What do you think of comic books like DC or Marvel?" I'm honestly not a big comic guy.
Marvel's better.
I'll go with what Carl says. What are your thoughts on the body positivity culture? What is that?
Okay, see, now I know this one. I am extremely for a body positivity culture, where I'm extremely for, if you are being shamed for the way that you are through no fault of your own, you should absolutely not be shamed for that. However, what I am for is pushing each other to be better. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. So if you are in a state of being unhealthy, if you are obese, there are legitimate health concerns that come with that. So as your brother in Christ, I would push you to steward the body God has given you well, as it is a gift from him, and you will give an account for the way you have stewarded it. So, and just as I will give an account for the way I have treated you, you also must give an account for the way you have stewarded your body.
I just looked it up while Carl was talking. I probably lean pretty similar to what Carl says. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully that answers your question. It's a really good question. But Carl burps, is that considered a fart?
I'm still so concerned where this has all come from.
The programmer says, "Do you like mathematics? Why I hate mathematics? It's beautiful." I like learning about it. I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
Like I took calc and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done with this math stuff. But obviously Will Craig came on a few weeks ago and presented the argument for mathematics, and I was like, wow, this math is really beautiful. And just like hearing Will talk about it and talking with him about it, like after the stream, like math is really beautiful. Like you try to understand it, but it's just not my thing. So I have a deep appreciation for it, but it's definitely not one of my favorite things. But it really is beautiful when you look at like kind of like how mathematics works. It's really the best way to find knowledge from like just like an like I think therefore I am perspective. Like science can be unreliable, but 2 + 2 will always equal 4. So I think it's definitely I have a lot of respect for mathematics.
You see, you could never say that in front of Will Craig. 2 + 2 = 4. He'd.
No, that's true. It's the A + B doesn't always equal B + A when you get deep into like number theory or something. I'm trying to remember what it was.
It's very strange. It's so strange. And yeah, no, I don't like mathematics. I have literally the most respect for mathematicians. I could never. There is just some things in this world that are so far above my mental capacity. And like calculus, it's just Calc 2 is one of those things, let alone a freaking master's degree or doctorate in mathematics. I have so much respect for mathematicians. Mathematics is, I have no doubt that if I could understand math, it would be beautiful. I have no doubt. But since I can't understand it, all I see is lines on a graph. I'm a very like visual processor. So when I see an equation, when I see like a graph and a shape, I think more like, oh, it's a graph and a shape. I don't think in terms of equations, if that makes sense. Why is my ear so red? Strange.
The screen's dark and you're outside. It's cold. Carl says, wait, Carl is a Calvinist? That's what I think all the time. But Carl still somehow like dodges his way out of calling himself a Calvinist.
If you want to ask me questions about whether or not I'm a Calvinist, I'm sure I can dodge my way out of them.
Depends on the day.
It does depend on the day sometimes. Some days I'll lean like, heck, some days I'll go full 4-point Calvinist. I'd never go 5-point, but it's just the limited atonement. I've never actually embraced that. Some days I'll embrace 4, some days it'll just be 1. But
you can be a 4-point Calvinist. I don't think you can be a 1-point Calvinist. The other 4 seem very interconnected.
Day by day. And I'll get myself out of it too.
I lean towards Molinism, but I'm not necessarily like certain of it. That's kind of my opinion on that.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick Molinist.
What is your favorite book in the Bible? Also, what is your favorite prophet? My favorite book depends on whatever book I'm reading. I just started reading 1 Corinthians again today, and
mine.
I was like, oh, 1 Corinthians 1 is really a beautiful passage. The whole book is the Bible is so amazing. If you had to make me choose one, probably Job, but I don't know. The Psalms are amazing. I think you look at 1st and 2nd Samuel. I think that's really interesting. So Job, but I love the whole Bible. It's hard to choose.
And favorite prophet?
Probably Elijah, just with the competency of God and stuff. It's really amazing. But I mean, you gotta love all the prophets. So I don't know. It's kind of tough. Your thoughts?
So, 1 Corinthians, favorite book. Yeah, by far away, it's 1 Corinthians. Love it. There is no book more applicable to the modern church than 1 Corinthians. When you get into actually studying the context and what Paul was actually writing to them about and the things that was going on in that church, there is no more applicable book to the modern church. And I will stand by that. I won't die on that hill, but I will fight that. I will fight on that hill for a while. Excuse you, not done with the question. Ecclesiastes, most underrated book in the Bible, by far. Top tier book. But no, it doesn't get the credit it deserves. Isaiah is my favorite prophet. I'm basic. Yeah. No, Jesus is my favorite prophet. Sorry.
Adrias Hernandez says, did you guys go visit? She's saying the Ark Encounter. And yeah, that's actually, or he or she, I don't know who you are, but welcome. Yeah, I would love to visit the Ark Encounter. It'd be really interesting. Obviously, I'm by no means a young Earth creationist, and I have a lot of questions and doubts, even though I'm always open to talking to young Earth creationists. But no, yes, I would no to young Earth creationism, but yes, it'd be really interesting to visit and see the Ark Encounter. So yeah, always interested in something new and could widen my perspective.
We should take a weekend and go do that sometime.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, look on GPS how far away it is.
We may just go do it tomorrow.
I mean, we could.
What are you doing tomorrow? You have anything planned out?
Nope.
Me neither. I just got to be back by 6.
It's a 6.5-hour drive. So
Frick.
Probably not going.
That's not happening. Yikes. Okay. Is it in Georgia?
It's in Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky.
So is it by Cincinnati then?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, it's over by Ohio, isn't it? Yeah, because that's how far it would be. Because we're not that far away from Kentucky, are we?
Kentucky is a big state.
Yeah, exactly. So we'd have to cross like that whole thing.
It is in yeah, it's in like northern. Yeah, it's right by Cincinnati. It's in northern Kentucky. So yeah. Okay. What have you reached in the whole alternative knowledge? You recently interviewed Dr. Paul. That's a really good question. I don't know. I'd probably lean towards an approach similar to Dr. Paul Copan. I think there's a few things we need to remember in this debate. So this is kind of like there's a few things I believe in, and then I don't really know where that leads me because I haven't really studied this thing in depth. One, I do believe in the supremacy of Scripture. I believe the Scripture is true and all that it teaches. So I think whatever those passages are saying, when you interpret them in their context, I think that's the truth of what happened. Yes, that's point number one. Point number two, I think that we have to realize the justice of God. Like, we talk a lot about like Jesus, like, oh, we see the violence in the Old Testament, but we see the love of Jesus, and it seems so different. But the authors of the Gospels, they think that Jesus is God. Like, that's very clear, and they think it's the same God that existed during this Old Testament. So they obviously believe these things, but they didn't really have an issue with it. So I think it's important to remember the justice of God. I do think it's also important to remember that, like, from a Christian worldview, death really isn't the end. It's just changing locations. Like, no matter how long we live, whether it's 5 or 50 or 100 years, this time is going to be so short compared to everything we have left. So that's a few points I have, but I don't really take a specific perspective yet.
So I'm very much of someone that's like, your specific perspectives aren't very useful. Like, in terms of isms and ists, like, not very useful, except for Christians. English, Carl. Okay, so it's really just Christians is the only ism. Christianity is the only one that's actually like significant in my mind. So I don't have like a whole perspective on that. I tend to say that old violence in the Old Testament and like a moral objection to the God of the Old Testament as a grounds for not following Jesus is logically and is completely and illogical and inconsistent, because if you would follow Jesus other than the Old Testament God, you have to admit that Jesus is the Old Testament God, at which point there is no reason not to follow him.
So aren't you a Catholic?
That's for free.
Aren't we Catholic heretics because of Molinists, according to Kyle?
If you're a Molinist, aren't you a Catholic heretic? I'm kidding, of course, then. I was actually raised Catholic. I was baptized Catholic, so I am a Catholic heretic. As one that had, quote unquote, known the truth and then left the truth, I am condemned as a heretic by the Catholic Church.
Nate says, did Zach Hart, why did that Carl say excuse you?
Oh, because he probably said something dumb.
Probably like that. Just so you guys know, we are going to be out live for about 5 more minutes. If you have any questions or super chats, anything like that, we'll put these in. We're coming down towards the end here. Yeah, I'd love to stop by South Carolina, Kyle. Road trip, as Rock P says. We're going to do a road trip at some point. That'd be fun. I want to like hang out with people that I know through the online circle. It's not random people, but like people I kind of know through like, they're not going to like kidnap me,
See, that's why you got to stay in your car. I was going to stay with the strap, but then I realized, oh shoot, we're Christian. We don't do that for the most part. We don't, at least we don't do that. We're not 21.
Susan, but praise God for your story. Nate, what are you talking about, bro? Nate, you're such a cool dude. And I think that's kind of like all the. Oh, here we go. Easy question. Come to Houston, dude. That'd be fun.
Houston Seminary. I'm really thinking about Houston Seminary. Actually,
don't hang out with Carl. Ethan. If he comes to Houston, don't do it.
Definitely do it.
Why did Carl leave Catholicism? You want to give like the brief, like 2-minute elevator pitch version, not the whole story. So
it was first an emotional leave. I just wasn't invested in the church. There was no like actual community, no one pouring into me. No one actually cared to try and, invest in my life. So I emotionally left, and then I started to study the theology. I spent about 300-400 hours studying the theology of the Catholic Church and the differences between Catholicism and Protestantism, and eventually coming to the conclusion that that the Catholic Church, because of mostly purgatory and Mariology, although it's primarily purgatory because there is legitimate defenses for their Mariology, it's purgatory that has convinced me the Catholic Church is wrong. Would you guys ever go to G3? What's G3? Do you know? No clue. I don't know, but I'm always up for an adventure. So sure. I'd love to go. I'm always up for the new thing that we can do. But we're right about at the 55-minute mark, so we can kind of like wrap things up. Go to Vocab's Urban Apologetics Conference, Doctrine for the Block. That'd be awesome. Be a lot of fun, Nate. Great idea. Doctrine for the Block. Yes, go Urban Apologetics. Great stuff there. But that's like all the time we have for today. We usually do closing thoughts, but Carl's been here the whole time. So no, I haven't. For most of the time, before like the first 3 minutes where I was just dissing Carl. Wait, really? I may actually rewatch that. I may actually watch some of his videos now just to see this. There was a slight jab because I was like, this guy is late, and I have this live in-person Q&A with Carl, but there's no Carl. But here we are. So I was out praying for this live stream. So okay, just religiously shame me. Exactly. I'm going to be a pastor. It's my job to religiously shame people.
I don't know about Thomism. That's an interesting question, the programmer, but I don't know. I have to look into it more. There's so much I need to learn.
Thomism.
But
Wait, where have I heard that before?
the Thomistic God.
Okay, I'm
Continue
lost.
to live stream for an hour and a half. Maybe next time. That'd be fun to do this again. I really had fun. So shout out to Chris Williams. But if Chris Williams disappears or someone else isn't available again, Chris just had something scheduling conflict. So this isn't Chris's fault. We will have Chris on next Friday night to talk about woke theology, which will be a lot of fun.
Woke theology. Oh, that's going to be fun.
But yeah, this is it, guys. Adherent Apologetics. Glad you're here. As always, I hope you enjoyed. You can leave a like, subscribe, all those fun things. If you enjoy the show, you can support the show on Patreon. $1, $2, $3, $5 a month, whatever you can. Really appreciate it. You can also become a member and support. That's it. Carl, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Um,
All right, bet. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kyle, Nathan D2, Idria, Rox B, Susan Lambo, I think. Everyone who tuned in, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good evening. Have a good weekend. God bless.
say Lambu.